When you say now system, we are going to get that. That was one of the questions I'm going to ask you later on, because it is later on in your book. But the other side to this too is now it leads into CRM, right? And how to leverage CRM to map out a sales process. Because I've seen, same thing, statistics that show that if a company follows a process, as opposed to just being loosey-goosey. I mean, it was an Aberdeen study. I can't remember what it is, but I mean, it was astronomical how the higher the closing rates were, and also the sales and stuff compared to companies that just didn't follow a process. Mm-hmm. And you kind of go into CRM here. So can you give us some thoughts on CRM, integrating process, stuff like that, or talk about the heaviness of that?
Right. Well, I think the fundamental issue with CRM is people just have to use it, mm-hmm. right? So there's certainly, I think the statistics about adoption and integration of CRM systems are a little bit misleading, because yes, I think there are a lot of companies that are paying their subscription to Salesforce and to Sugar and to all these other companies, but they're not really using it, right? They're using it as a contact system, fundamentally. And so until they sort of look at how can I use this as a strategic tool, how can I capture information about my accounts and then go back in and look at that and use that as a way to analyze how we should be supporting and servicing and selling this account, then, it's just going to be a contact system. There's no real value to it. Mm-hmm. And so you can use it for process. You can use it for tracking compliance to a process, through timestamps and assignment of follow-ups. But it's really what I recommend is that people sort of start with one process. And that's why I like to start with lead follow-up, because it's sort of the most central one, is you can have your process and then use your system to see whether you're actually operating to your process. Mm-hmm. And once you've done that, then, okay, what's the next one that we can add into this? Instead of trying to attack it across a broad front, let's choose one thing that's most important. I think follow-up is the one that's, for most companies, is task number one. But it could be something else again. It could be, how long do we take to respond to a request for quote? If it's that type of one-call close type business. You can put your metric in there. You've got timestamps on activities. You can see how people have communicated with the account. It's all there. And you can go back and look at it. And I have a survey up on my site. It's a quiz. I call it the Sales Speedometer quiz. And I urge everybody to go to my site and take it. It's 30 questions. And it quizzes you about your processes. Mm-hmm. And I have questions in there about CRM. And to date, I've had 300 or 400 companies take this survey. And what the results have really been eye-opening, which is that, I forget the exact statistic, but it's something around the 20 to 30% of sales managers, only 20 to 30% of sales managers, say that they're reviewing the CRM records of their customers on any sort of regular basis.
Whoa. That's actually scary.
Yeah. So they may be looking at it for their own accounts or maybe certain strategic accounts, but they're not using it to sit down with the salespeople and strategize what they're going to do with their account.
Well, and I've definitely experienced that CRM conundrum where basically it was just a reporting mechanism that management wanted to know all the details and wanted us to report, update, write notes so they can review, but we never had conversations about how we should close the business or how we should engage the multiple decision makers and things like that.
Yeah, and so I had one account where we capture, and I think this should be the standard, is just capture everything. So the salespeople is a condition of employment. Every email you have to correspond to, you have with a customer, you just, copy that email or send that email to your CRM record. Every time they talk to customer support, basically everything that happened with the customer. And what happened then is that, there's always turnover in sales, the ability to come up to speed in an account was greatly enhanced. Mm-hmm. And so there wasn't this real lag time when they had salespeople turnover. It was much more consistent face for the customer. And, those times when salespeople leave or sales managers leave is sort of, in our mutual friend Craig Elias' term, sort of a trigger point perhaps for a competitor to come in and swoop into that account, is you really start eliminating a lot of that if you have the right documentation about your customers in your CRM system. So a new person can come in and just spend an hour and come up to speed really quickly.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's a good way to protect your business. I mean, the siloing of information by employees is a big problem in business.
Right, and I think especially in small and mid-sized businesses that they don't have this tendency to look at that information as company proprietary information, right? And so, geez, salespeople tend to think, geez, I went out, I talked to this customer, that's my information, right? That's portable with me when I'm going to leave, and it's really the opposite. That's really company information, and you want to protect that, and you want to make sure it's worthless to you if it's not in the system.
Well, and obviously, if the company is not involved and working with their salespeople in the sales process, it's only natural for a sales rep to take ownership of that lead, because he says, "I did it on my own. I didn't get any help from the product department or the marketing department." Right,
and that's another topic we can get into about coaching and sales management, which has been another area that seems to have fallen by the wayside in many respects in some companies, but. Yeah, I mean, if the management's not involved, sales are going to have that opinion that they're sort of free agents, they're contractors, and they